Hey guys, so it's April 25th and we're here in New Hampshire, so that means it's still pretty early in the gardening season, but especially for those of you guys in cold climates who have short growing seasons, it you're getting impatient to get stuff out and in the ground. You really only have so much time to grow a garden every year, and especially if you're trying to maximize food production, I think early spring plantings can help with that. So I want to show you guys some stuff that I've planted out here in the raised bed. It's obviously very small. We're not going to get a ton of food out of this, but I'm just kind of using it as a demonstration. I'm going to try to do some succession throughout the season between April and I might still be able to plant some stuff as late as like August if I'm transplanting out some fall plantings. Well, I'll show you guys what we got. So you can see we got peas coming up. They're about 1.5 inches tall at this point. Put in some French style radishes. They're doing quite well. And I haven't shot many outdoor videos in the last week or so because we've had a lot of rain. The last few days we've had over 2 inches of rain and it's been very raw. Last couple days have been in the 40s, so some people are still running their wood stoves. But peas, definitely, you can start them even here in New Hampshire. I've started them as early as March. Takes a while for them to come up, but I mean, they can get snowed on and they'll be fine. These radishes, we haven't had a frost since they've been in, but we were in like a degree or two of risking a frost, and they've done fine, even though it's been quite cold. This is pak choy, which is like a small bok choy variety, Chinese cabbage, whatever you want to call it. They're doing pretty well too. I mean, they're definitely going slow because of the weather, but they're hanging in there. They're not yellow, like they've got a decent green on them. So, again, I know it's not a huge amount of food in the ground, but if you're trying to think about what you can get started early with annuals, these seem like good choices. There's some other things we want to do around the property. We've really worked on fruit trees and bushes over the last few years, and I'll do more videos on those as we go through the season. But the peaches and cherries, well, the cherries and blueberries can start yielding as early as like late June. Peaches like in July, so we do have some progression, and then we get into pears and apples in like September, October. So that covers us for a few months. But from a homesteading perspective or like a survival gardening perspective, if that's the angle you're coming at it from, April, this time of year, was traditionally the starving time in colder climates because people would have eaten through their winter stores. And if they didn't go into the winter with a lot of food, this is when things would run out. And frankly, there's not a lot to eat. There's some fiddlehead ferns you can collect wild, dandelion greens, but there's not a lot in the way of calories. Unless you're fishing, hunting, those kinds of things. Not much to forage in terms of plant material. But you can grow asparagus, comes up quite early in the spring. Garlic, we're thinking about doing like rhubarb. So trying to get some things that'll actually be like May, June harvests so that we have stuff basically half the year or a little bit more than half the year that we can harvest at any given time in terms of like more perennial plantings. So just something to keep in mind. I don't see a lot of content on like food forests or like permaculture, seasonal eating from a northern perspective, because honestly, it is hard to do. From about November, unless you're running high tunnels and stuff, you might be able to keep some kale until like December. But around here, I mean, honestly, basically from November into April, you're going to have food put up because you're really not going to get much, at least in terms of produce. If you have livestock, it's a bit of a different story, but you have to have food for the livestock put up because even pastured animals don't have grass. So hope that's some useful information for you guys, and we'll show you more as we progress through the season.